weren't roommates or childhood besties, or even that close at first.
We met in a 1 Corinthians 13 small group and basically trauma bonded over being the unfun friends.
Not the ones who take the shots. We're the ones who carry the Band-Aids.
We're not the ones who flirt at brunch, but we're the ones overthinking the group text.
But we're done apologizing for being deep. The unfun friends, let's talk about it. We dive into the real stuff no one's texting about.
Singleness, faith, body image, mental health, autoimmune struggles, grief, burnout, friendships, and so much more.
With a little chaos, a little candor, and a lot of comfort.
This one's for the girls who feel like too much and not enough all at the same time. So, let's talk about it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the pod. I'm Ella.
I'm Madeline.
And today we're doing something a little bit different because we just had midterms and now we're on spring break.
We should mention we're the unfun friends. Yay.
Oh yeah.
But yes, we're on spring break. Thank y'all for giving us grace. Last week.
Yeah.
We actually didn't drop anything.
Yeah,
Sorry.
except for my blog post.
Her blog post
that
was
kind
really
of
good.
counts as a drop.
I think it does.
It's just not listening to it.
Yeah.
So today, because we're kind of brain dead, we're just going to kind of show up and just talk about life. We've both kind of been going through it, honestly.
Yeah.
But wow. I just caught myself because I was going to be we're going through it, but we're fine. And we are.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I always feel like I have to be, I don't know. Acknowledge that I'm still extremely blessed even when things are hard.
I don't think it's bad either, but yes.
That doesn't mean I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't want to sound selfish.
No, I get what you're saying. I just want to get the elephant out of the room this is Guinevere. She is my dog. She's really cute. My dad's favorite daughter.
Watch this, guys.
But she's just kind of in and out of here. We'll see if she settles down, but probably not. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. So, should we just do life updates and stuff, or?
Yeah, so we're just kind of showing up. We're just gonna just let the Holy Spirit take it where He wants it to go, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, the last one, we obviously, Ella obviously dropped her blog post. If you hadn't read that, go back and read. Grammar, hello? If you have not read that yet, you should go back and read it. It was really good. It was on. Do you want to tell them about what last week was?
Yeah, we'll just start there, I guess. So last week was National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. Always happens in February. Yeah, I guess it's typically the same dates. I don't know. My brain is so scattered right now. But all of last week, I really wanted to write something to post on my blog and on my social media and stuff.
Wait, pause. Just subtle plug for her because she's not gonna plug it herself. Y'all should subscribe to her blog, and I'll put that in the link tree in our Instagram so y'all can get easy access to that. But good stuff on there too.
Thanks. I don't post as often as I want to just because school is so crazy right now. I don't have as much time to creative write.
She doesn't post anything because she's not anything. She doesn't post frequently because she's literally spread so thin, thinner than a piece of paper. But anyways,
thinner than a piece of paper. And then, but all good things. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all good things. Everything she does,
she
genuinely enjoys. Why am I speaking for you? You can tell them. From my observation, she genuinely enjoys everything she does. She puts her all into everything, and she's I'm not that girl. You're busy.
Yeah,
you do a lot. But it's all good things.
After the way this week was, I will acknowledge that I'm busy because I feel exhausted.
Okay, sorry, I keep interrupting you though. We were talking about how last week was national.
Okay, yeah. Last week was NEDA week. I don't know if anyone says NEDA.
Explain what that is to me.
It just stands for National Eating Disorder
gotcha.
Awareness.
It's if I was saying from IDEA or FAPE or something.
Yeah, so people online will put NEDA.
Okay, gotcha.
But sometimes I just say NEDA and then I'm I don't know if anyone actually says that. You know? Or if people say NEDA.
Yeah, if they say the letters.
I
get both as well. Just which we'll get to that, guys. I'm sure we'll talk about what we're doing in school, but one of my projects has a lot of legal abbreviations, and it's just kind of figuring out how I want to say it. Anyways.
Yeah. So anyways, I really all last week wanted to write something to post, and just no words were coming to me. I just couldn't get a grasp on how I wanted to put it into words. And so then Sunday night, Monday, and really Tuesday morning, I just feel like the Lord was like, download in my spirit. I knew what I wanted to write. And I was writing, and then it kind of just came out as like the poem, as a poem.
I thought that was so cool.
Which was super fun. Like, I love to write poems.
But I'm so bad at writing poems. I think it's so cool that you write them, especially with I'm spoiling it for you guys who haven't had a chance to read it yet, but like the first 2 lines were the same as the last 2 lines, which I love. So
and
cool.
that poem, like that like topic, I guess, or the start of that poem has been kind of trending recently, at least on my Instagram. But just to spoil the first line for you guys, it's the I met my younger self for coffee.
Yes.
People have been like doing that, like, you know, and
that
kind
trend,
of fill in like what their younger self would think about their self now. And it's cool to think about, because I'm like, what, in 10 years, if I wrote that poem again, what would I say, you know, about myself now?
Actually,
like,
it's
in
a
hindsight.
good reflection exercise. I feel like it's twofold, because I feel like you can look back in one way of being like, okay, like I was actually doing pretty well, and in my head I was so like in the gutter about it.
Yeah.
And kind of looking back, you can see like the overall how he saw it, not like how perfectly how he saw it, but like what his story was through it. But then also you can also look back and be like, ooh, didn't handle that well, but like look at how I'm handling things better now.
And just the growth. Like, I was telling one of my professors, I read her the poem like when I finished it on Tuesday before I went home, before I posted it, and we were just talking about, you know, like, in hindsight, you don't just wake up in the morning and are like, oh my gosh, I made so much progress.
No, that's true.
It's like only something you can see like in hindsight, which I don't know, like, that feels like a duh.
No, it does, but I feel like the Lord does that so we don't believe the lie that we're independent, and people like myself are not trying to be a control freak, even though I am a control freak. He does that to keep me in check.
Yeah. So, yeah. It kind of felt, I don't know, the poem just like I don't know. Like, that was not my goal. My goal was to write, like, I guess kind of like educational, like more awareness based, but it was fun. Like, I hadn't written creatively like that, or expressively, I should say.
So we just go and read it out for everybody?
Yeah. Can
do you have any interest in doing that?
Well, it's on my phone, which
I have my
is phone. Oh, touche.
But you don't have to read it.
No, I'll read it for sure. Faux show.
Where is it? Me going through our text. I'm like, we don't text that much.
That's funny. Thanks. Okay. I always have to make things awkward.
No, it's not awkward.
Okay. I met my younger self for coffee. She couldn't believe we were still alive. Tears welled up in her hurting eyes. Hope spread through her veins and helped heal the scars on her arms. I didn't have to say a single word. I just held her hand and we wept. She didn't touch her coffee or her pastry, but I did. She stared in disbelief, but a tiny smile gently spoke of wonder. How will I ever get there? I showed her my journal and confidently read her stories. Stories of awe and gratitude on the other side of countless nights in tears and morning alarm clocks met with, I can't do this. Stories of laughter while flipping pancakes with beloved friends. Stories of tender love as little hands pulled my face close and whispered, yeah, I love you. You're my best friend. We locked eyes. Hers were wide and revealed the depths of a mind that never stills. Begging for help, clinging to splintering rope as rocks fell away beneath her feet. I hugged her tightly. She was tense. I was steady. She inhaled. Lord, give her comfort. She exhaled. Lord, take away her anguish. I watched her walk away. There was so much more I wanted to say. I trusted her to make it through what was on the winding road ahead, but I achingly wished I could just tuck her away, protect her, shelter her. I cupped my hands together, a small sanctuary of flesh that held hope, while hers were empty. I met my younger self for coffee. She couldn't believe we were still alive.
So good.
Thanks. My mom, like when I guess, it was on Instagram, she commented and she said something like, you know, gosh, ... that hit like a ton of bricks. Like, you've been through so much. And trying to think about it from her perspective almost makes it feel heavier sometimes, because like, she obviously saw some of the worst, darkest moments. And I can't imagine, like, as a mom, like how that felt, you know? Like when I was just suicidal at the very end, she would sleep in my room.
Yeah.
And every time I got up in the night, you know, she was bolting upright. I don't know.
Yeah.
And like we talk about it, like our family kind of uses comic relief now.
Oh, us
like,
too.
You know, we laugh about things. But I mean, obviously we have serious conversations. Like there's some things that just can't be laughed about.
Right.
But recently, I mean, it's been a while, but still recently, like probably in the past year, I said something to her about, and my dad, of thank you for walking through that with me. Like I know it was not easy for y'all, blah, blah, blah. And my mom said something like, or I think I said y'all didn't choose to have a daughter.
So like that,
you know,
right,
like, right. Y'all didn't choose that. And my mom said, but we did. Like when we chose to have kids, we chose to walk through anything that you were going to walk through. Her words felt better than, you know, or were stated better than what I just said, but it just was like, wow, that was good.
Yeah.
I needed to hear her say that.
That reassurance.
But also I hope as a mom, like when I choose to have kids, I am choosing to navigate whatever they're having to navigate. I'm dying at the ad. We had like coffee music ambiance in the background, and now it's an ad with words.
We can skip it in 25 seconds. No, that's true.
I forgot there's a table right here.
It's fine. I have like, fun fact, guys, we have a glass-ish table over there. I high-key went through it as a kid. My brother and I were playing Nerf with like our Nerf guns down here, and we were like, oh, it would be a great idea to stand on the table. It wasn't. But this very quilt.
You busted through the table.
But this very quilt that I have on my lap right now, you're smart enough
to put a quilt on top of the table?
Yes, because our thought was, oh, we can't mess up the table. So like put a blanket over it so like we don't scratch it. Little did we know, scratching was the least of our worries.
Let's see if she fingers that.
Yeah, but like to go along with like your topic, just talking about like parent.
Wait, no. Pause. So the blanket, when you crashed through, you didn't get cut or anything because the blanket.
Yeah. Which is purely the Lord, because that guy's like it has like a wood frame on the outside and like wood bottoms to it. It's like this one. I don't know if I can see that one right there, but it's a longer table and just has like the glass paneling in the middle. Yeah. That was not a fun phone call at all.
Oh, I'm sure.
But like valid. One, we messed up their table. Two, that they probably had the same thought you did, where it's like, am I going to come with glass in y'all's feet? Like, what? Yeah.
Oh, you found it.
She's smart. Okay, Guinevere's a hunting dog, even though she doesn't hunt because she's too delicate.
Are you delicate? I know.
Say no, and my dad's overprotective.
Yeah. You get your teethies brushed every night. Yes, I know.
So guys, it's so fun when she tries to chase her tail because she just doesn't have one.
Aww, Madeline making fun of you.
You just gaslight her. What do you mean?
Did she see me or did she come back? As I gaslight. That's okay. Back on track. What were you gonna say? You were gonna say something about parents.
So about like the whole like parent like not. So I guess in this aspect you weren't talking about parental guilt. You were talking about how like your mom navigated things with you, but I don't know why it reminded me of like parental guilt. I guess because I don't know if your parents were ever like this. So it might have been like, hey, like is there something that we did to make it a little more successful with these feelings or not? Because I'm in a special education class and they were just talking about one of the attributes of families with kids that have a disability, or whether it's like a physical disability or an intellectual disability. How they can have like that parental guilt of being like knowing it's not your fault, but also being like, what did I do to like cause it, or just like feeling like you're responsible. And I never really understood that necessarily. I'm a foster mom of animals, guys. So this is like such a minute example. But right now I have a placement I have a mom cat and her 2 little babies, and they're so cute. But I had to take them in for a vet checkup, and I was told like not to kind of interfere, just like let mom do what mom does. Like they were still nursing and stuff, and she's like naturally like they will wean off and start eating like normal food. Just like if you get out mom's food, just place them next to it, see if they take to it. If they don't, like that's fine. So like they didn't take to it. I took them back, and then they came back out after the vet appointment, and they're like, they're severely underweight. Like, we need to get them to eat ASAP. And so I was like, no. Like, I felt horrible, and I wanted to cry because I was like, my babies are too tiny.
I don't think I realized that they like that's how. Did you know that they were like underweight, or
no?
You just thought like?
Well, I didn't know because I've only had fosters been like after they've stopped nursing from mom.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, so, you just found another toy.
But she even said, she was like, it's not your fault. Like, it was just some cats take longer. But my mom guilt was like, I felt terrible. But now they're eating, guys, and they're like doing great.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say, but anyways.
Just mom guilt.
Do y'all see what happens when we don't have a topic when we come in and speak?
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place. It's kind of fun, though.
It is kind of fun. Okay, so we went over...
Oh, yeah, so NEDA week.
NEDA week.
But the other thing that, like, I was writing about had to do with, like, motivation. I've been listening to this podcast. I'll tag the account of she is a therapist that is also in recovery herself. Mm-hmm. And so I follow her on Instagram. I don't know where she's located. Not in Alabama. But I follow her on Instagram, and she has some really good, like, encouraging posts and, like, awareness posts. And just kind of like a day in the life, different things. Mm-hmm. And she recently started a podcast that's called Recovered-ish. And so she has, I think, like, some different takes than people in the eating disorder world have that haven't, like, battled it themselves.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I've done a really good job of just, like, tuning her out.
Walk it up when you're just like nuzzling into your like. Sorry. So it's called Recovered-ish. Recovered-ish. It's nice because she's kind of going at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, like so the last one that I listened to was about like motivation in recovery, and she like started the episode with saying, her name's Chloe, by the way, Chloe Cox, I think is her last name.
I think I've heard that name.
Maybe I've seen her.
Maybe you told me about her. I don't know.
Maybe. She started saying like, I think I have kind of a different take than like some, therapists in this world or like eating disorder world have. And she was like, maybe I'm kind of jaded. Like, I've been in this for too long. Like, who knows? But she took like motivation and recovery from a stance. Because she was saying too, like, a lot of things that you first hear in recovery, and I'll give an example in a minute, like, they can really hit home, like, when you first start, like, getting treatment and getting support. But then kind of along the way, at least for me and for Chloe, this is what she was saying, like, they start to kind of feel cliche, like, okay, I've heard that before.
I get that.
And it's not doing anything. But I do remember at the beginning of my treatment, like, some of those, like, sayings or really things, like, felt revolutionary for me. But, like, one of those would be, like, when I gained weight back, I also gained my life back. I gained my laughter back, like, stuff like that. And, like, okay, yes, like, I see the point of saying that.
But there's a point once you hear it so many times, it loses its effect.
And also, when you're in the throes of it, like, the thought of weight gain or whatever, those fear-based things.
I just don't even say it.
You're just like, I don't understand how anything that comes with that in recovery could make it feel better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, she took it as a stance of, like, and this, I'm going to start getting technical with some terms, because it's also fun because I'm in a counseling and psychotherapy class this semester. And so some of the stuff we talk about, I'm like, oh yeah. Like, one time in class I said, not to self-disclose too much, but when I was in treatment.
I love that though.
But it's like, there's only like 16 of us in the class, and it's a very like conversation-based class. Yeah. And so whatever. I'm like, we're all psych majors. If people are uncomfortable, then maybe they shouldn't be in.
Right. Right.
Anyways, part of DBT, dialectic behavioral therapy, dialectical behavior therapy. I can never remember which one has the AL at the end. Anyways, one like aspect of that like treatment is opposite action, which is like when you have the urge to, I guess we'll just use an eating disorder example, an urge to like not eat, you do the opposite. Or if you have an urge to self-harm, opposite action, doing something opposite of the urge to get the urge to pass. So one thing Chloe was saying was like, our beliefs are learned through experience and through like repeated action.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was saying the same has to be true for recovery. Like, you have to learn through your experience and your repeated action. So she was like, you're not going to maybe believe you're worthy of recovery, but that doesn't mean you don't eat until you feel worthy or think you're worthy.
Right.
So it's like the over time doing things opposite of the eating disorder is going to build that belief of I'm worthy of recovery, or, you know, whatever the thought is. And so I don't know, just hearing that was like, it's something similar to what I said in one of our body image episodes of,
yes,
you can't wait until you feel free to live free.
Right.
And so I don't know.
No, that's true.
But her take on motivation, I just thought was really cool. So
Yeah,
I'll link that, her podcast and her account for you guys. But I was kind of writing about that because I've definitely been struggling more. And I've started working with a dietitian just because I was like, I couldn't think about it by myself anymore. Like, I needed support with that, which has been great. And just kind of it's been a relief for me.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that.
Just kind of like, you're just talking about how different kind of sayings you might have built your habits around can sometimes lose meaning to you, and either just trying to find a way to reintegrate that meaning or finding new methods, I guess, or I was like, why am I fuzzy? I was like, or methods of continuing a habit or just being healthy.
Yeah. Or I guess I was going to say with motivation. But I like it when our lip like kind of goes out like that. Like, I don't feel motivated currently.
Yeah, I completely get that.
But I have to do it anyways. And so it's almost like a white knuckle, just trying to get through
and it's like, and then you feel guilty for feeling unmotivated because you're like, I have so much at my disposal.
Yeah. But it's almost like, okay, tell the eating disorder that. Like,
yeah. We've had this conversation.
Like, as much control as like I can't, like, we don't have control, right? But like the things that I can control in like a healthy way, you know? Oh, one thing she said, and I thought this was really good because I get this. Like, for example, with guilt, someone asked this question on like a Q&A on Chloe's Instagram, and so she was answering it, and it had to do with like how you navigate like feeling guilty like after you eat something or just eat in general or whatever. And so she's looking for a toy that I hid under the blanket.
I'm sorry.
It's so funny. You know what? I'm just going to show her the toy.
So we're talking about back to Chloe Cox.
So she said sometimes like having positive affirmations for yourself are obviously great.
Yeah.
Like, she's not saying that it's not. But she was like, sometimes when that guilt comes up, okay, so say I eat something and then I start to feel guilty. Instead of being like, oh, I shouldn't feel guilty, like trying to say an affirmation, like, this is the best choice I could have made for my recovery today. Something that's been more helpful for me has been like, just kind of like being real with, yes, I feel guilty. I expect myself to feel guilty right now because I'm struggling. And okay, that's how I feel. I don't have to really pay that much attention to it. Acknowledge it, move on.
Gotcha.
Instead of working so hard to change the cognition, which I think there's a time and a place for that. And like, this is an interesting thing I've kind of wrestled with, okay? When it comes to like in the Bible saying renew your thoughts daily.
Right.
So put a pin in that. And then in CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. I always want to say with it. Anyways, doesn't matter. CBT.
I feel like that one is the behavioral.
I think you can say it either way.
Okay. But I have heard that one's referred to as behavioral.
Yeah. I mean, it's behaviorism, behavior, and cognitive therapy. It doesn't matter. You could say it either way. It doesn't change what it means. Anyways, there's an exercise you can do within CBT that's like keeping a thought record. And so it's like you write down the thought that you're having and then like how it makes you feel, whatever. But then you reframe the thought and then write down how you feel afterwards. And it's just tracking like your thoughts and changing them in the moment when you're like doing it. And so I've done that before. And so I think like changing cognition is super helpful. But then there's ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. And that whole thing is like, instead of changing the content, you accept that it's there, but you don't give power to it.
Okay.
And that honestly has been more helpful to me.
Like in the season, yeah.
Today I'm looking in the mirror, I'm getting ready in the morning, and my body image is horrible. I don't like the way I'm not confident, I'm insecure. And I still think I'm not saying not to speak affirmation, like not to look in the mirror and be like, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, like I'm made in God's image, like that kind of stuff.
No, but sometimes you're just in a mood and you can try your best to change it, but you're just
but I'm like looking at myself in the mirror and saying I'm beautiful is not going to change the fact that I don't feel that way in that moment.
Right.
And I don't know if it ever had, like, this is honestly a good question. Maybe I'm just being a horrible critic. But who has ever been like, had this insecure thought, changed it in the moment, and then automatically been like, oh yeah, felt immediately better, and then just continued on? Has anyone? I would like to know and would like to talk to them, because it's always in hindsight. Like, I know that was a lie. Even if I recognize it in the moment as a lie, even if I say the opposite thing, it's not going to make me feel better.
I feel like when it comes to stuff like that, when it's kind of you being an enemy against yourself, I can't. But I feel like if it's something where I'm overthinking something to a degree, and then I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, here are the practical, logical reasons why that is a stupid reaction to that.
Or not stupid, but like irrational.
Right.
Or just untrue.
Oh, well, I would just be like, well, that helps me hype myself up. Like, that's just dumb. Like, move on.
Okay.
Like, if I'm overthinking something and I'm like, okay, you, like, for XYZ reason, it's stupid that you're overthinking it for this reason, because it's just not. And there's sometimes I can't talk myself out of it, but sometimes I can. So I feel like that's the one thing I probably, like, the realm I can't. But if it's like a distinct feeling where it's like, I like don't like how I look XYZ day, a little bit harder.
Yeah.
If not impossible.
Yeah. So I'm like, anyways, back to the ACT therapy. Just accepting that, like, okay, this is how I feel today. I don't have to give power to it, and I can move on. Mm-hmm. That has been a lot more helpful to me. Not that it like works every time. Like,
sometimes you're not really there, down, but you're gonna give your energy to other things.
Yeah, and so that's more about just accepting and moving on, instead of like having to work really hard to change your cognition,
because then it kind of taints your whole day.
Yeah, and so I think there's a time and a place for both. Obviously, like I'm not saying I disagree with CBT. I think that it's very effective.
Well, there's a reason they're both.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of like an integrative approach. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited for when in this counseling and psychotherapy class, we actually start talking about an integrative approach. Mm-hmm. Because right now we're just talking about all the different approaches.
Right.
And there are some that are like Freud's cognition is like super crazy and out there. And so then we swung from like the unconscious and psychoanalytic approach to behaviorism. Mm-hmm. Cognition means nothing. Like, it has to be observable and blah, blah, blah. And then we get to CBT, where we combine cognition and behavior. And I'm like, thank you. That's better. But then still, I'm like, there's still other things. Yeah. Anyway, so it's just funny. I don't know where I was going, what I was saying.
Well, I think you're just updating on the National User Week. Yeah. What else is new? You dropped the First Love episode, and then you posted kind of a little not essay, but just like a little like synopsis on our story about singleness specifically. Do you remember what I'm talking about? You reposted a podcast talking about like singleness.
Nope.
That's about it.
I posted it on our Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, wait, I'm so confused. What did I post?
I'm looking.
Oh! I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Let me read it.
Read it and then tell us like what was behind your mind when you
did that. Yeah.
So I actually haven't had a chance to like sit down and talk about it just because I've been so busy, which we'll get into.
Okay, yeah, so fun. Okay.
You're being like, what?
I guess do that. I was so confused. After I read this, I want to know what your initial thoughts were to it. Like,
okay.
Completely transparent. Even if you didn't like it. Like, I just want to know.
I am always transparent.
Well, I know. Oh. But I don't want you to be like, that was good, and you actually thought it was bogus or whatever.
No, because then the Lord will strike me down. So we'll get to that too. Where I was in college night, I heard this like story, and it was just very eye-opening for multiple reasons. Anyways, also it reminded me why we started the podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, at the college night. Yeah. Okay. So I guess background. I was listening to the Call Her Holy podcast,
which we know we're fans.
Yeah, we've tagged them before in a body image episode. It's Laura Eldridge and Nicoletta Bradley. They're incredible. You guys definitely need to listen to them. But I was listening to their episode. It was just Laura and this, I'm blanking on her name, which is horrible, but Nicoletta wasn't a part of this episode. Nicoletta flew to wherever this lady lives, and they were talking about, she just wrote
Laura
a book.
Nicoletta flew.
Laura flew to do an episode with this lady, and I'm blanking on her name, which is horrible, but she just published a book about like singleness, dating, marriage, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what this podcast was on. But like the first line in the title is wanting marriage idolatry, and then like praying for your future husband. And so the conversation was just kind of around.
No, I think that's like such a hot topic.
Like at what point
does it become idolatry versus
that's a desire of your heart and you're like believing for it and asking the Lord for it.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was a really
talking
good.
To my roommates about this other night.
After I read this and like we talk about stuff, let's talk about that, because it is a really, like, I struggle with that. Because then you hear people say like, well, some people are just meant to be single, and I'm like, I don't want to hear that.
All right, let's get into this first though.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, I see what you're saying.
Anyways, they were saying some really incredible stuff. I'm just going to read what I wrote down. Okay. I said, my single friend struggling with dating in today's culture and really desiring marriage. This episode is really great. Dating in our culture today looks a lot different from what it's supposed to. I know people respond to me with saying things such as, your standards are too high, or they won't want you if you don't give them what all boys want. First of all, there are men out there who will respect and love you enough that they want to spend time with you just as much as they want to kiss you. So don't settle for disrespect. I'm also not saying that messing up when it comes to purity means you're ruined or not worthy. There's no shame. Jesus took the cross for that. But I also think purity is important, and we can all choose that from today on. New mercies every morning. And sometimes it's hard to not feel crazy for wanting to do it, quote, the right way. Dating. Living counterculturally is not easy, but God promises that good comes from that. This episode says it too. And then I'm quoting something they said in this episode. You have to be a little crazy to do what the natural approach is to see things done differently. Wait, let me read that again.
What?
Did I read that wrong?
That's giving like...
Okay, yeah.
I was giving the other day, and it's like...
You have to be a little crazy to what the natural approach is to see things done differently. I read it wrong. Like the natural approach being the way the world is doing it.
Yes.
You have to be a little crazy to that approach to see things done differently. Obedience to God looks foolish to people walking apart from Him. But if we want things done differently, no toxic relationships, no added scars on our heart, respect and intentional love from our future husband, a covenant marriage instead of one that says, I'm first and you don't matter, then we have to do things differently. Living faithfully takes effort. Choosing easy right now would mean choosing what will be hard and miserable in the long term. This episode gave me hope and encouragement. You're not crazy for doing things differently from what culture says. Just wait until you see the fruit it bears.
Yeah. You want my initial impressions?
Yeah.
So, well, we're filming a podcast right now, obviously, and it was on our Instagram. So my first impression was, okay, that's exactly why we started this episode. Not necessarily because of singleness, but again, going against culture is hard, and it's not viewed as fun, and sometimes it doesn't feel fun. There are times where I feel like it can be somewhat empowering, because you're like, okay, I really feel like I'm, plugging into Christian fellowship and what the Lord wants me to do, and you can feel great. But then there are other days where you're gonna be like, this is hard. Sometimes I don't like being looked at as different, and kind of being ostracized for that. Yeah. So I think about that initially. I feel like that's a subsect of the whole unfun friend concept.
Yeah.
Additionally, I like that you added in that, of course, saying these things does not mean we're condemning other people.
Yeah.
It's just because, again, we've all have sinned, and the Lord's sacrifice has covered all of that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that if you've sinned in one area, you can't try again. You can always start over. The Lord has made that to where we can, ask for forgiveness, repent, start over, which is such a blessing. I can't remember what my other initial thoughts are. I guess not even necessarily what the subscript you put was great, but just even with the topic of being about, can you idolize marriage? Is that what it was? Yes, 100% yes.
Yeah, and can you idolize the desire for it?
Yes,
and
100%.
Also for sure yes. And so, well, let me go back, because I also wanted to say, preface this specific part of our conversation with we're not coming from a place of judgment.
No.
And like and maybe we've said this before, but the judgment goes both ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I feel extremely judged by people who are sleeping
dating
around
in a different way.
and doing stuff like that. And so, like,
there's judgment on both sides.
I'm just going to approach the sex topic. Okay. If we're going to talk about this, I feel like it needs to be said. There are people in my life that take the stance of, when it comes to sex and dating, sex outside of marriage, that it's like a car. You have to test drive before you know if it's the one you want.
Yeah, I've had people say that kind of too.
I disagree with that.
Or like figuring out what you want. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. It really just is frustrating to me, because then it brings up insecurities for me of like, okay, well then if I wait for marriage, like, it's never going to be good, or like different things of,
or scared like divorce and stuff like that.
Right. But then I'm also like, no, that is biblical, that it's something sacred and intimate and intentional for the covenant of marriage.
I also feel like it protects your heart.
Yes. If I wait, God is going to bless that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's going to be a huge learning curve for everyone involved. Let's just be completely real. So, like, no matter who it is, like, your first time with anyone is going to be a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to figure it out together.
Right.
You're different people with different needs. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just really drives me crazy.
No,
and
also, at some point someone just has to say it. So
yeah.
I don't mean to giggle. It's just...
Yeah, no, but I get it. Like, I giggle about it too.
Let's hope there isn't like a 10-year-old mom that's just like... Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I think my dad listening to this be like, ew. Oh
my gosh, yeah. I don't even know if my dad listens to our podcast.
My dad does. He's our #1 fan.
That's so cute.
I know. He's so nice.
Well.
Don't worry, Dad. I haven't kissed a boy. We're good. We're good.
Well, so I don't know where I was going with that, other than just like, I feel judged.
No, I completely understand.
And I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. Like, I've never been
or like, have you ever
relationship?
been called gay?
Yes.
Okay, y'all just heard me give the note to my dad that I haven't kissed anybody. Is more so as a joke. I mean, it's true, but it's a joke. So what? I don't really care, but I do care when someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, so you're gay, essentially,"
because you haven't ever been with a boy.
Yes, I'm just like, because that's the only logical reason as to why I haven't kissed somebody.
Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, period, end of story.
I don't know how to get into that because I don't think it's worth it, but I just find that funny.
I'm just like,
it's weird.
Why do people even go there? Like,
it bothers you. It's like bothering those people more than it bothers me.
Yeah, I'm like, sorry, you're so concerned with
anyway,
who I kiss and haven't kissed.
I've heard that. No, but I just heard that as an ongoing theme from multiple people I've spoken to. Maybe just like a little bit more conservative in how they approach dating. Which again, no judgment on either side, but just again, like, there has been judgment towards people who are a little more conservative sometimes, and just being, I don't know, just like rude. Just
well, and I guess let me explain why. And okay, this podcast episode talked about it really well too. They talk about like sex outside of marriage and like the beauty of it within marriage. So I guess like if we're going to talk about this, I want to share like why that's something that I believe and what I want to do for myself waiting for marriage. Because I think on both sides, it's like, why?
Okay.
Why do you choose to wait? Why do you choose to not? And I don't think, I know it's not easy.
Yeah, just go for it.
But
no,
I know what you meant. Just go for your explanation. Well, okay. One, we know. I feel like there's a bunch of different pieces. Like, scientifically and emotionally, we know that when you have sex with a person, especially for women, there's an emotional tie.
I think it is for guys too. Like, I think they like to say it's not, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe more for a girl, but like, let's be honest.
Well, it's scientifically proven that it is for a guy too.
Yeah.
So
I think
there's
that's another
that
cultural lie. I'm just gonna put that out.
Yeah, for sure. And then there was something else, and Laura and the other lady said this in the podcast, but they were talking about I can't focus. Something like, well, you said protecting your heart, which is a huge thing. And it's also like, if there's going to be insecurity or comparison in something that's supposed to be beautiful, Like
goes into protecting your heart.
If I have like slept with a bunch of people and then I get married, I don't want to be thinking about previous sexual encounters while I'm trying to be with my husband. Like, that's not fair to him. I don't know. So they go kind of more into that of like protecting your future spouse by making that decision for yourself. But then also my biggest thing is like, it's biblical that is supposed to be something that represents the covenant of marriage. And so I'm like, why wouldn't I wait? Not that waiting is easy, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wish I could say what. Can you give me your phone so I can see if I can find it in the transcript of their podcast? They said it so good.
No, I hear you.
And I really like want to repeat what they said.
I'll go on like another little tangent.
Yeah, you go on a tangent.
So like, Ella was saying like, what I agree with, like protecting your future spouse if the Lord puts that in your life. But I also think about it in two ways as well, where it's like, if I ever have kids, which I would love to, but you know, if the Lord ever blesses me with children, it's like, I don't want to do, and I obviously fall short of this every day, but just thinking about my actions and my relationships and things I say to people and how I carry myself, I don't think it's fair for me to sit somewhere and get onto my future daughter or son or just like any of my future kids about something if I wasn't carrying myself to a higher standard as well. And so, I don't know, there's not a fairness to them. I want to be a good example now. And I want to show it to myself too, like that's not an unfair standard or like expectation to have. Does that make sense? I don't know. Just like, I don't want to sit there and explain to them all these things that how myself, like, hey, mom messed up in this way. Obviously, I'll take accountability if I need to for things, but I'd rather just not have to. So why can I not just do better in the first place?
Yeah.
I feel like that makes no sense.
No, it does make sense.
But I try to think about it that way. If I wanted my daughter to be friends with somebody, like I want to be someone that I'd want her to be friends with. Same thing, like if I had, that sounds weird, but like, or if my son was dating somebody, like I would want them to treat him well and to hold themselves to a good standard. So it's why should I not also try to like, you know, live up to that? To be fair, I feel like that sounds really weird, but
no, I don't think it's weird.
I don't know. I just think it's hypocritical to have a different standard for somebody if you're not willing to live up to that standard yourself.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And obviously, again, we all fall short all the time.
Yeah. Dang, there was like, I'm going to find it. It's probably at the very end.
And then while she's looking for that, I might go on to my own thing about how you can idolize marriage. I think I've definitely done that where I want to be mom really bad. My parents have a very sweet relationship. And, you know, they got married when I think my mom was 21. Dad probably was 22, I think. Anyways, right out of college, like super sweet relationship, had 5 kids. And, you know, it's not all perfect, but it's pretty great. And I think they've given me a great example of what a godly marriage should look like. And it makes me excited because I'm like, I want to have a family. I want to have kids and stuff like that. I think especially right now with me trying to figure out where exactly the Lord is leading me for graduate school options. I'm just kind of getting overwhelmed with those decisions sometimes and being like, oh, well, I really just want to be a mom. But kind of Elle was mentioning earlier where it's like the Lord doesn't necessarily owe that to you or promise you anything. And I'm kind of grappling with that's true. The Lord doesn't owe me or promise me anything. It might not be in his will for me. But also some people are like, well, the Lord wouldn't put a desire in your heart if he wasn't going to make it fruitful. So just kind of navigating that as well. But also making sure I don't place all my hope in, okay, one day when I have a family, one day when I have kids, like one day when I have that perfect house. That shouldn't be the thing that keeps me going and makes me excited. It's not bad to have that in mind and to be excited for it, but it shouldn't be my sole reason of continuing on every day and having a happy heart and attitude. It should purely be as I'm happy to serve God and that I'm stepping into that not necessarily because it's for myself, but it's another way to serve him. So I think I've definitely been convicted about that. Just knowing that's not going to make life perfect and it's not going to fix everything because there are also going to be struggles if I'm a mom or in a marriage. Nothing's ever going to be perfect as much as we might try. Just making sure to know like that's a great, beautiful thing that the Lord has given us. But ultimately, what is marriage? It's also, it's kind of what is it? Not one parallel. Just foreshadowing of the Lord coming back to the church as like the bridegroom. It talks about that in the Bible.
Yeah.
And kind of like, I don't know. And then I feel like being a parent is a way you can step out of yourself and love someone else and just serve them. I feel like I'm talking in circles at this point. But anyway, it's just knowing that you take that, you can have hope in it, but it shouldn't be your primary source of hope, because it's really dangerous if you put your kids and future spouse on a pedestal. One, that's not fair, because those expectations are not fair. You're putting onto them your hope, your love, and your future. That's only a position God can fill. So just making sure you hold yourself accountable in that.
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to find it, I don't think.
Well, I've talked in circles now, and I'm kind of getting angsty.
Angsty?
Because I don't know what else to talk about.
Maybe it's under here, navigating.
I could talk about
attraction.
the same thing forever, guys. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think definitely yes. You can idolize everything, but I feel like marriage and like family, like eventual familyhood, is that a word? It is now. Familyhood is a sneaky one. Because I feel like a lot of times you talk about, oh, like you're idolizing technology, you're idolizing self, you're idolizing food. I idolize food. Or idolizing money. Like, you know, all these things are things I think comes up a lot in media, or like if you're younger in small group or in chapel or something like that. But I feel like a lot of times, I feel like I'm hearing about it now more that I'm in college, but you can 100% idolize good things. And I think marriage and families are one of those things. Yeah. And it can be sneaky, because it's like, that's not a bad desire. I mean, the Lord calls us to multiply, make more generations, and, you know, to date in a healthy way, and to, you know, be married in a healthy way, which we were kind of touching on, but that can also be idolized. Which I also think we need to talk about how dating was ever mentioned in the Bible. How it's like a 21st century.
That's really interesting.
Concept.
Yeah.
Okay, but did you find what you want to find, or you just?
No, I can't find it.
Hey,
y'all should go listen to that episode. They talked about it, but they were just talked about like having respect for your future spouse.
Yeah.
And not wanting to break that prematurely. I don't know. I just thought it was really beautiful to think just about respecting them. Like,
you're protecting their hearts now.
Yeah. But they talked about that with a prayer too, of like, how cool is it that you can pray for, you know, God willingly, to pray for someone that you're going to be with later. Mm-hmm. And so one thing, I think her name was Christian. I should have looked when I was looking at the thing. What?
I don't know. Like, I don't think it's bad to pray for like a future spouse, but again, it's like you're not guaranteed one.
Right. That's what I wrestle with too.
That's something I grapple with.
What if? Because one thing, I think her name was Christian in this episode. Anyways, one of the things that she published was like kind of a guiding you through like different prayer topics for your future spouse. So what she did was she had this Bible that she wrote prayers in, and then on their wedding day she gave it to him. And he knew nothing about it. Her husband knew nothing about it. And so she would like put dates next to scripture and things that she was praying over him, and then got to give it to him. And it was cool because she said there were certain things that she prayed for that like aligned with things that he was going through at that time. And so it was that's divine. So but that's something that I've struggled with too, is like, what if I'm keeping a journal, you know, writing letters and prayers to my future husband, and then I actually never get married? Like, was that dream, were those prayers a waste? Like, how do you hold that? I don't know. I don't know if we can.
I'd have to meditate on that more before I actually got a thought about that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think my initial thought on that was that makes me uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable in a bad way, but just like, I don't know how I feel about that, and I would need to do more theological.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of people do that.
No, and I'm not opposed to it either. Like, but I just don't know where my like theological stance is on that. Yeah. As far as like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad. I don't think that means you're demanding something from the Lord. No. Just kind of.
And I think he wants us to continually ask and like definitely just be real with like where our heart is.
Yeah, because he already knows.
Yeah,
that's true. He already knows. What do I say? You know where it's like the third person I.
Yes, but like explain a little bit more.
I don't even think that's what I was trying to say. Third person I. That is a thing. It's like a grammar thing.
Yeah.
Or I guess when you're writing a scholarly paper, you're trying to avoid the first person pronoun. So you're like, not my research, but this research presents. It's not about you. Like, you're trying to get a third person perspective because you're doing it to a scholarly conversation with other sources, not yourself.
Yeah.
But also, like, I say that now, and I'm like, well, the Lord knows you're trying to do the third person, not for pronouns. He knows exactly what we're doing. But I don't know. I was like, maybe you could just, I don't know. Is how you frame it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Heart posture does matter. We see that in the Bible.
All right, friends, we're going to pause the conversation here, but don't worry, this is just the halfway point.
There's so much more we want to share with you, and part 2 is where we will continue unpacking everything we've been talking about.
Take a moment to sit with what you've heard and then come back and join us for the rest of the conversation.
See you there.